So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Astrophilosophy Hour. And I'm shooting this for the third time because somebody actually suggested in the comment section, and I love it. He's like, instead of shooting this from your webcam, why don't you make the setting all dramatic? Why don't you make it all philosophical? So I'm like, hey, I can do that. So this is a new thing that I'm doing where I just want to discuss about life, my own thoughts on life and philosophy, and perhaps some of my ideas that may help you in your life. Because especially now that astrologically Saturn is in the sign of Sagittarius of philosophy, okay, higher octane of thinking, it's time to get serious. And it's so amazing how I'm doing this now. And look at the title, Astrophilosophy Hour, and look at the ambience. It's black, dark, like Saturn. So Saturn is transmitting through me to share certain things that perhaps will help you. And I do feel like most of the time, the things that I share, the thought process that I have, does tend to help a lot of people. So today's subject is going to be on how little time you have for success. Because many will always think that, I can always pursue things tomorrow. Let me just do this. Let me just accomplish this small task, and then I'll pursue what I'm meant to someday. And that becomes a huge problem. Because, first of all, in our very small, mediocre life, we have literally 30 good years. 30 good, mature years where we can set certain goals and accomplish certain things. Even if it's to attain enlightenment, to practice spirituality and yoga, to wanting to go to the other plane, or on a more practical front for some of you, is to pretty much wake up every morning and feel like you're playing. See, it's like how Alan Watts said that you should be getting paid to play in your life. You shouldn't be getting paid to work, you should be getting paid to play. So the question you want to ask is, are you playing right now? You're in this playground, you're in this theme park, you're in the playground with all the rides. Most of the people have the blindfold on or just sleepwalking throughout the park, and then they open their eyes towards the end and oh, it's time to exit. What happened? Did I went on any ride? Did I enjoy anything? And most people do not. And this is where towards the end of their life, they want to pursue things. They're like, oh my God, I want to climb Mount Everest. I want to read the Bhagavad Gita, and I want to read the Vedas, and I want to become spiritual. But what they don't realize is, especially with spirituality, you should be following that when you're 10. Just like Abhignya, who I brought on my channel. But if you want to pursue spirituality, the whole purpose of spirituality is so you can practice its principles in your prime of life. So if you read the Bhagavad Gita, you read the Bible, you read the Quran, and you want to follow what it said, what benefit will it do following it at the end than if you do it now, when you're young, when you're in your 20s, so you can get the principles in, when you can get the practices in. And this is very important now because, I get a lot of people who want to pursue certain activities which were their lifelong goal, which was their lifelong passion, But they're now pursuing it because they had their regular jobs before. For 30 years, they were perhaps accountants and working, and their goal was to do wildlife photography. And they want to now do it. They're retired now. They have some interest in it. They've always had interest in it. But then imagine if I spoke to that same guy when that man was 20 years old. I'm like, so what do you want to do? He says, well, I'm good in mathematics, crunching numbers, but for some reason I'm always drawn to taking still pictures of wildlife, taking pictures of animals. It started off with my love for birds on the balcony or the cow on the street, and I was just fascinated with their life, their movements, their gestures, and I just fell in love. I always used to read, National Geographic, and that was it. But then, I just had to get an accounting degree because, hey, I've got to get married, I got to have kids, and I got to pay myself some money so I can take care of the family, and that's what happens. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, what I'm trying to tell you here is that try to have a family, have kids while you're doing wildlife photography. This way you won't even feel like you're working for your family. You'll feel like I am just playing, and wow, I have these companions like my wife and my kids, and we're just in this playground. Awesome. Because you just got to remember, because we're always blind about these things, and these things are now coming up. I'm thinking about them. I'm like, what are some of the things that I want to accomplish before I have 2 bad knees and arthritis and whatnot, and I can't even move, I'm a vegetable, and here's all the goals. Okay, so what is that you want to accomplish? And I was just thinking about that today, like perhaps I want to go Kailash Parvat, I want to go Machu Picchu. I want to at least experience third eye awakening. If forget Kundalini, I'll at least want to experience third eye awakening. I want to be part of this type of group. I want to live in this neighborhood. I'm like, all right, so what if I try to pursue that maybe when I'm 50, 60? And that's where it just hits you, like, why then? Why not now? So you have to do things now. And this doesn't mean that if you're an IT, if you are a lawyer, okay, I'm not telling you to go become a musician and a flower child or become a rock star, movie star. No. God, that's one industry I don't even recommend anybody anymore to go into the movies. But it's all about your dharma. What makes you get up and you're like, all right, there's a sense of purpose. There's a sense that my normal functioning body feels a purpose. Sure, there's no purpose in this life at all, first of all. There's no accomplishment. There's no this is my God-given goal. God has put me on this planet to do this. No, the God has not done that at all. You can just sit under a tree, you'll deteriorate, you'll die, and that's it. That's fine. God has really actually put you on this planet so you can learn about the right principles and graduate from those principles to the next level. Just like my Guru Kavindra Rishi said, it's not a universe, it's a university. But look, I want to talk to the real people out there. I want to talk to the folks that are wanting to do something with their life, but they're also being steered away into this other direction called mundane work, mundane jobs. But for you were suggested to either be in accounting or IT, and that's it. But that wasn't really something that you wanted to do. You hated it. You'd rather be in a university setting at 2 a.m. in the morning with other colleagues and discussing this one problem that can literally show that things can move beyond the speed of light. Just think things like that. The best example is Togi Aditya, the great Vedic astrologer Togi Aditya, who I'm going to see in 15 days in Sedona. Togi Aditya is an astronomer, first. he is a PhD astronomer, then he's a Vedic astrologer. But it would not have been, because Togi Aditya's parents said, hey, Togi, you gotta either go in mechanical engineering or civil engineering or go in IT so you can pay bills and have a family and have kids. But then Togi is like, I want to enjoy the ride in the theme park that I'm in. I want to be able to walk out of the theme park and say, wow, that was a great day. I had a lot of fun. And so Togi is like, this is who I am. I want to be 75 years old, 80 years old, and somebody says, so, was your life fulfilling? And I want to be able to say, yes, it was fulfilling to the max. I did everything that I wanted to do, plus I learned astrology. I learned the divine mathematics, the divine celestial mathematics. So one of the best ways to understand, who you are. Let's say you have no interest in astrology, or you're tired of looking at astrological chart. The best way to know who you are is to see what is it that you can teach someone thoroughly and with interest and passion. Let's say a kid came to you, your cousin, your friend came to you, hey, can you teach me this subject? And if you are able to teach that subject to them all day long, just by drinking water, not caring about what's happening in the world, whether your spouse is calling, your children are screaming, but you want to teach them that because they came up to you and you were like, yes. They said, I want you to teach me something. I'm like, oh, I'll teach you this because I know this. Whatever you can teach in this life, those are the things that are actually perhaps your Dharma. And nobody knows your Dharma except you. Or nobody knows it better than you. What is it that you love teaching? Whatever you love teaching, you're going to love doing it and progressing in it. Like if somebody, came to Amitabh Bachchan, sir, can you show me how to cook paneer? He's like, well, I've only made it twice, but this is how you do it. Just write this, this, and this, and that's how you do it. Okay? But then somebody says, Mr. Bachchan, can you show me how I can give this dramatic performance in this play that I have in my high school, but I'm just very scared and fearful? Well, Amitabh will be like, all right, sit here. I'll show you how to be all dramatic and give you the best performance. Amitabh Bachchan would be sitting with him, showing them the emotions he needs to have, the way his hands gesture needs to be, where he needs to look, and when he sees this dialogue, or when he says this dialogue and the other person says this back to them, how he needs to look at them. He's like, when you do this, oh, people are going to love that. And he sits with this person for 2 hours without even seeing where the time went. That's where, if Amitabh Bachchan wasn't Amitabh Bachchan, that's where Amitabh Bachchan should be like, this is something I can really show somebody with utmost passion. Maybe I should pursue this. And this is how it started for me. My journey and my progression in astrology in the last 12, 15 years, especially the last 10 years, really came from my wanting to teach. I'm like, man, I want to teach this subject. I want to talk to people about this subject. I was talking to people in my mortgage company. When I was in my mortgage company, whoever was next to my desk, somehow the conversation would come to astrology. And then I would talk about my uncle and this, and then they would get interested, and I'll be like, yeah, and this is this, this is this, this is this. It's like, wow, you should pursue it. I'm like, no. I don't know what to do, where to go and to pursue it. I had that thinking. But if I took a moment at that time and stopped and just sat for 5 minutes like, wow, I just taught this person exactly what I knew, and I couldn't care less about the HUD and the deed that needs to be emailed or sent. Maybe I should. but I didn't. But, you know, somebody was watching me. Some blessings were there. Gurus came in my life, blessed me, where I'm like, that's it. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to teach. I want to do everything related to astrology. If I'm going to make a movie, I want to make a movie on astrology. So whatever you are able to teach all day without drinking, without eating, without, you know, paying attention to all the other stresses in the world, hey, perhaps that's something that you might want to do. Okay? So guys, this was my first Astrophilosophy Hour for you guys. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Again, if you want to know about your own astrological position, for that, check out the links here and check out my reports and readings. Otherwise, we'll see you next Saturday. But we will be uploading my other videos, my weekly series, tomorrow. Bye-bye.